Welcome to Talk with Healthcare Heroes episode 10, presented by Medical Crib. Today I have with me Dr. Vaishali, who is a senior consultant, surgical oncology and breast cancer specialist at Max Vaishali. Today the topic of talk is breast cancer, the treatment and the surgery. We'll be covering up with the questions: what is breast cancer? What are the risk factors to it? What is the treatment that we can do? What are the surgeries that we can do? Or is there any potential side effect to the treatment? So keep watching. Welcome to Medical Crib episode 10. Today I have with me Dr. Vaishali Zamre, who is a senior consultant breast cancer surgeon. Welcome, ma'am, to Talk with Healthcare Heroes.
Thanks, Ansi.
So today we'll be talking about breast cancer. What are the surgeries that are available? So I'll be putting up some questions to Dr. Vaishali and she'll be answering some of the questions. Ma'am, what is breast cancer?
Normally, all the cells of our body actually have some designated lifespan. And similarly, breast cells also have a limited lifespan. But sometimes what happens is, if there is any genetic mutation in the cells of our body, especially the breast cells, then what happens is, instead of dying, these cells keep on multiplying and they behave in an abnormal manner. So instead of dying, the cells keep on adding and sometimes a lump is formed. And that those abnormal clump of cells actually forms a cancer.
Ma'am, what are the causes of breast cancer?
There are many different, actually, I would not say causes, but I would call them risk factors.
Factors, yeah.
So whenever many patients come to me with the diagnosis of breast cancer, they always ask me, doctor, why is it that I have actually got this cancer? And I'll tell you, in many of these patients, I'm not actually able to pinpoint any particular cause. But let me tell you, a most important cause or a risk factor is being a woman itself. So being a woman itself is the biggest risk factor. But that does not mean that only women do get breast cancer. Even men also get breast cancer. But of course, the number of men to women, actually, the number of men suffering from breast cancer is very, very less. So when 100 women are diagnosed with breast cancer, one man will have breast cancer. The biggest actually risk factor is the exposure to estrogen. Estrogen is a female hormone actually, which is secreted by ovaries mainly in women who actually are menstruating. And after menopause, the estrogen is produced in the fat cells of our body. So the longer is the exposure to estrogen, the higher are the chances of developing breast cancer, especially those ladies who have an early onset of periods and a late menopause. Those those women who do not have any children, those who do not breastfeed their children, or those patients who actually take exogenous estrogen, that is in the form of estrogen containing contraceptive pills for a long time, or if they take hormone replacement therapy for postmenopausal symptoms, or if they have to undergo hormone therapy for infertility. These patients are at risk of developing breast cancer. Then another important risk factor is your advancing age. The risk of breast cancer actually increases with age. But that does not mean that even young patients will not have breast cancer. So no age is exempt from breast cancer. But breast cancer is less commonly seen in younger women and most commonly seen in 5th or 6th decade of life. But in India, in our country, actually, we have started seeing many young women with breast cancer. The other important risk factors are obesity, lack of physical activity, excessive fat intake in diet, smoking, alcohol consumption. Then there is another important risk factor, that is the exposure to radiation. Young girls who have had radiotherapy for, say, cancers like lymphoma in childhood, if they have received radiation to chest wall, then there is a high risk of developing breast cancer in these patients. Then there are certain environmental factors also which as of yet have not been actually described or determined, they also might play some important role in development of breast cancer.
So, like, ma'am, you said that there's a concept that males may not have breast cancer, and you cleared it that even males can have.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
They do. Yes.
What are the types of breast cancer?
See, there are many types of breast cancer, but the most important type or histological or the pathological type is the ductal carcinoma. So ductal carcinoma is the most important type of breast cancer. Then there are other cancers like invasive lobular carcinoma, then sarcoma, lymphoma. There are many other types, but majority of them are treated in a similar manner. Then there are actually main two important types, that is a non-invasive or an invasive type. Non-invasive as in the cancer cells are limited within the duct itself. They have not come out of the duct and spread into the other tissues of the breast. And an invasive cancer is the one wherein the cancer cells have started spreading inside the breast. And there is a potential that they might spread to any other part of the body as well. And non-invasive cancers generally do not have a tendency to grow or spread to any other part of the body.
So, how is this screening done, or when they should feel that no, I have to go for a screening?
Correct. So actually, I would say there are two important aspects of screening. One is a high risk screening, and one is for ladies who have average risk screening. Okay. So when I say high risk screening, that means that those people who have those high risk features, as I mentioned earlier, and the most important high risk is a family history. If a lady has more than two members in her family who have had breast or ovarian cancer or pancreatic cancer or prostate cancer, or those who have a known genetic mutation in their family, or those ladies who have received radiotherapy to chest wall in the childhood, these people are considered to be at high risk of developing breast cancer. And for them, the screening actually starts 5 years before the youngest member of their family has had breast cancer. Okay. And for average risk ladies, actually the screening should start from the age of 20. There are different aspects of screening. There are different ways of doing screening. The important parts are cell breast examination, clinical breast examination, and imaging, that is the mammography, right? So cell breast examination should start at the age of 20 for every woman. Less likely to develop suffer from breast cancer below the age of 40. But that doesn't mean, as I would like to reiterate, that doesn't mean that I have not seen breast cancer being diagnosed at the age of say 25 or 30. There are patients who have been diagnosed. But the commoner age groups are 40 and above. The most common are 50 and 5th and 6th decade, as I mentioned earlier. The mammographic screening actually should start after the age of 40 or 45, because before that, the breasts are quite dense, and mammography usually does not add any value to screening. And once the lady crosses the age of say 40, then she should start doing mammography once in every 2 years. That is called as an opportunistic screening, because we do not have any government funded structured screening program in our country, quite contrary to what it is available in Western countries. But for an average risk lady, she should have a mammogram once in every 2 years. So I would again repeat here: cell breast examination once a month after the age of 20, clinical breast examination once in 6 months after the age of 20, mammography once in 2 years after the age of 40. And for high risk ladies, it is actually done it starts 5 years before the youngest age of the family member who has had breast or ovarian cancer, and it is generally done alternatively, mammography once in 6 months and MRI once in 6 months. So in 1 year there will be one mammogram and one MRI. So that is how the screening is actually.
Ma'am, what are the treatment options that are available for breast cancer? Once they are being diagnosed with breast cancer, what are the treatment available?
Right. So breast cancer is actually generally treated in a multimodality way. So there are many aspects of breast cancer treatment. The most important treatment modalities are surgery, chemotherapy, radiotherapy, targeted therapy, hormone therapy, and immunotherapy as well. So there are, once a lady is diagnosed with breast cancer, it can be that she may require all the types of treatments or she may not require all the types of treatments, and the sequence of treatment also changes from patient to patient. So it is not that every patient of breast cancer will be treated in a exactly similar manner. So we have to plan the treatment in an individualized way, like we do a custom made dress, isn't it? So a breast cancer management plan is also made in a customized manner pertaining to, the different factors which are actually present in that patient.
So, ma'am, when the treatment is being done, so you named so many treatments.
Yes.
Is there any side effect to it?
Yeah, sure. Actually, all the treatments have some side effects or the other. I would not call them side effects, but they are, the accompaniments of these treatments, right? But let me tell you here that all the side effects or whatever after effects we call them are actually quite tolerable, and there have been so many significant advances in the medical field that in today's times all these treatments are very well tolerated by majority of the patients, unless the patient is actually very very old and has lot of other medical conditions that she may not be actually able to tolerate the treatment. Otherwise most of the patients are actually able to very well tolerate. So when we talk about surgery, obviously there are problems like some pain, then there could be problems like infection. Those patients who actually need to undergo complete removal of the armpit lymph nodes, then they have a possible risk of developing swelling on the affected side arm, right? That is called as lymphedema. But it is not that all the patients who undergo this surgery will have. So the incidence actually ranges from 10 to 20%. Then there can be some stiffness in the shoulder of that affected side. But all these actually problems related to breast cancer surgery can be minimized if due precautions are taken. So we have to actually start physiotherapy from the very next day the patient is actually operated. And there are certain specific precautions which are actually told to the patient after the surgery, and she is actually advised to strictly follow them so that the incidence of these problems is actually very very low. Then when we talk about the chemotherapy or the systemic therapy of breast cancer, then there are problems like hair loss, then loss of appetite, or maybe nausea, vomiting, fever. There can be numbness in the fingers and toes. But all these all these side effects are temporary, and once the systemic treatment or chemotherapy is over, the patient actually gets rid of all these side effects. As far as hair loss is concerned, majority of the women actually are worried about, or they don't like the hair loss actually. But let me tell you, this hair loss again is a temporary problem, and once the chemotherapy is over, patients do start growing their hair, and the quality of hair actually is much better than they previously have. And definitely these kind of side effects can be managed with, say, hair loss can be managed with use of either head scarves or use of nice wigs actually, which can be custom made. These very nice wigs are available in the market. Then problems like nausea, vomiting, appetite related issues are actually can be tackled with the medicines which are available. So majority of the patients are actually prescribed those medicines at the time of discharge from chemotherapy ward. Then problems like numbness and all obviously also can be minimized by using medication. So again, I would like to repeat that in addition to the advances in the chemotherapeutic medicines, there are certain very good medicines which are actually available these days to help the patients take care of the side effects as well. As far as radiotherapy related side effects are concerned, there are very minimal side effects. It is only that the skin of the affected side or the chest wall actually sometimes can get pigmented, or there can be some mild burning sensation. If the lady actually observes all the precautions which are advised at the time of radiotherapy, then again these problems also can be very, very minimal. As far as hormonal therapy is concerned, there are certain problems like patients can have bony pain, or patients can have abnormal menstrual bleeding. So but again these hormonal therapy treatments are actually very, very well tolerated. As far as targeted treatment is concerned, there are certain very specific side effects, like there are certain heart related issues. But if the patient has a baseline very good baseline heart function is very well maintained, then these side effects are actually very, very minimal, or they are very temporary.
So ma'am, like you said, there are side effects, and people even, Google, so they see the side effects. So like you said, all the side effects mostly we can manage.
Absolutely, absolutely, yes.
Like the tumor sizes are vary in different people.
Yes.
Does it matter?
Yes, it does matter, because the tumor size actually is a very important part of staging, clinical staging. So the lower the stage, the higher are the chances that the patient can be completely cured. So the stage of the disease is actually related to the disease outcome. If the patient presents with a very small tumor, then the possibility of it being, if it has spread to the other parts of the body is very, very low. So the early stage the patient actually presents, we are able to better treat that patient, and there is a possibility, or there is a potential cure to the disease. So the ladies are actually requested to check their breasts or do self breast examination at a regular interval once a month, so that in case if they observe any small lump or bump here in the breast, they should actually visit their doctor.
If a woman takes the treatment, does it affect the ability to have a baby?
If the patient actually undergoes chemotherapy, then yes, actually. Surgery and radiation does not have any infertility related side effects, but yes, chemotherapy does have. And the chemotherapy which is administered for breast cancer management definitely has its effect on the ovarian function. So if a young lady undergoes chemotherapy, then definitely her ovarian function is actually either temporarily or sometimes can be permanently impaired. So whenever a young patient is actually administered with chemotherapy, then obviously we have to do some ovum preservation. In case if the patient is wishing for future pregnancy, then we advise them to go for ovum preservation, ovum cryopreservation before the start of chemotherapy, so that in case if the ovarian function does not resume back, then the patient can still have children. The younger the patient who is actually being treated with chemotherapy, the more are the chances that her ovarian function will come back after some time after chemotherapy, and she can still conceive after a gap of maybe 2-3 years. But there are certain actually medications which are actually used in these young women who wish or who want to have children after the treatment is over. These medications actually protect the ovarian function during the chemotherapy. The side effects of chemotherapy on the ovarian functions are actually protected by these. These are called as GnRH analogs. These medicines actually protect the ovaries from the side effects of chemotherapy. So these patients who receive these type of medication during chemotherapy are more likely to have children in future after the completion of treatment. And the other options are obviously ovum cryopreservation, so that at a later date those ova can be thawed and can be fertilized with the sperm, and the lady can have her own offsprings.
Ma'am, like if a lady has a breast cancer, if anybody has a breast cancer and surgery is the option, so what are the options for surgery?
Yeah, that's a very good question. In fact, I wanted to talk about this because being a surgeon, that is a passion for me. In the first and foremost, outset, I would like to tell you that a woman who is actually diagnosed with cancer does not or need not lose her breast. So that is a common perception in our, in our society, that a woman who is diagnosed with breast cancer, she has to lose her breast. No, that is not true. So especially so because we have had such wonderful clinical trials which have proved beyond doubt that in early breast cancer, in properly selected patients, breast conservation surgery is a very, very safe option, and it is equivalent to complete removal of breast, that is mastectomy, right? So there are two main important options. One is breast conservation surgery and mastectomy. Breast conservation surgery means that we remove the lump and we remove some or all of the axillary lymph nodes. And in mastectomy, the whole of the breast is actually removed. In early breast cancer, we remove only the lump, and if the lump is small in a moderate to large size breast, then that does not lead to any cosmetic deformity. But if the breast lump is large and the breast size is small, then we have to actually use some surgical techniques called as oncoplastic techniques. So even these patients, we can do breast conservation surgery. If a patient actually presents with a locally advanced disease, even then we can start the treatment with chemotherapy and then reduce the size of the lump, reduce or downstage the disease, and then maybe once the disease is properly reduced or downstage by chemotherapy, we can still offer breast conservation surgery. So in today's times, there are very few patients who actually need mastectomy. But obviously in our society, there is a very deeply ingrained myth that a person who actually, or a patient who is diagnosed with breast cancer has to lose her breast. It is not so. And again, that is the importance of doing cell breast examination and early diagnosis. So if a patient comes at an early stage, we can still conserve her breast so that the psychological impact of removal of the breast actually can be minimized.
Ma'am, so the surgery, does it have any potential side effects?
Yeah, so as I previously told you, there are certain, unwanted effects associated with surgery. The most important thing is lymphedema. And that lymphedema is again seen commonly in women who have to actually undergo complete armpit lymph node removal. It is not seen in those patients who undergo sentinel node biopsy, or the chance of having lymphedema or swelling of the arm on the side of the disease. It is very, very low if the patient undergoes sentinel node biopsy. So a patient who is actually diagnosed at an early stage is less likely to have lymphedema. But if a patient actually has complete axillary dissection as a part of breast cancer surgery, then the risk is around 20% to that lady. If she receives radiotherapy also to the armpit or to the axillary part, then the chances of having lymphedema actually increase. Then the other important side effect is shoulder dysfunction. So the women who actually do not do physiotherapy, the exercises which are taught after the surgery, if they do not strictly follow those exercise routines, then they are likely to have restricted movements of the shoulder. So that is called as frozen shoulder. But in our hospital, after the surgery is over, in the evening itself or the very next day morning, the patients are actually taught shoulder exercises. They are guided very well, and during the follow-up also, they are actually seen by the physiotherapist. So the incidence of this frozen shoulder is very, very low in those patients who actually perform these physical, physiotherapy very well. Then the other minor side effects like infection, chronic pain. So very few, patients, they do have some long-term pain in the affected side of the chest wall, but these are also actually quite very well managed with simple medication. So other than these, there are hardly any, major complications of breast cancer surgery.
Ma'am, as a breast surgeon, what is the takeaway message that you have for the people who are watching us?
Right. The most important message I would like all the women actually to listen to is do a cell breast examination very regularly. Learn how to do breast examination. Either you can come to the hospital and understand the correct way of doing breast examination, or you can even search on internet, because there are many authentic sites which actually tell you how to do self breast examination. And those women who have actually crossed the age of 40, they should start doing regular mammographies once in 2 years. And in case if any lady notices any change in the breast, it need not be cancer, but they should not actually sit at home, but immediately consult a breast cancer surgeon, so that in case if there is some cancer lurking inside the breast, it can be diagnosed at an early stage and can be treated very well. And other important message is, whatever you have learned here today, please discuss it with your friends, your female relatives, and in the society, so that the awareness about breast cancer is actually increases, and the outcome of breast cancer can be improved. Because in our country, since majority of the patients actually come with a very advanced disease, the outcome of the disease or the deaths related to breast cancer are significantly high compared to Western countries. So this is the important message. And any change which is actually noticed by a lady in the breast, it has to be brought to the notice of a breast surgeon. That is my important message.
So you should not take it very lightly, like,
Absolutely.
theek hai. Yeah.
Right.
So thank you, Dr. Vaishali, for joining us. And those who are watching us live, please like our Facebook page, Medical Crib, and YouTube, Medical Crib. Thank you for watching.
Thank you. Thank you, Anthony.